Welcome to Spoken Love Podcast, where words don't just tell stories, they breathe them. Here we strip love and life down to the bone, unfolding our truths in rhythm and rhyme, through dialogue that's part poetry, part confession, and all real. So lean in, let the silence between the verses speak, and join me for a conversation wrapped in poetry. This is Spoken Love Podcast. It's your girl, Nellie Michelle. Welcome back to the Spoken Love Podcast, where love, life, and lessons are spoken out loud. Today's episode is one that stays trending online, but we're going to approach it with honesty and respect. The title of this episode, What Black Men Wish Black Women Knew, and vice versa. For years, we've seen the debates, the threads, the podcasts, the YouTube panels. Sometimes they get heated and sometimes they turn divisive. But the heart of it all is a simple desire for Black men and Black women to love each other better. So let's step away from the stereotypes, the dragging, the finger pointing, and lean into truth, accountability, and understanding. Before we dive in, I want to set the tone with a poem. This piece is called Need Love Too. Black man, you say you need love too, but when it stands in front of you, open arms, steady heart, you push it away like it's too heavy to hold. You say you want to be heard, but you ghost the conversation. You want to be seen, but your time is locked up, stingy like it cost a fortune. You crave to be understood, but your words, they get lost in the silence. And me, I desire love too. But don't make me collateral damage in your figuring it out season. Because I am not a lesson, I'm the answer. And I won't sit here bleeding patience for a man afraid to claim what he prayed for. Let's start with what I often hear from Black men in these conversations. A lot of men are saying that respect matters as much as love. And that's a given, right? But we find that even more with Black men, many brothers say they just don't feel respected in relationships. For them, love without respect feels incomplete. Now, I can't be the voice of Black men because I'm a Black woman. But the fact that this is even a concern should be at the top of our minds to say, well, why exactly do all these brothers feel this way? You know, in a day and age where the Black woman is now being elevated economically, right? You're finding that Black women are carving out their own lanes in corporate America. They're getting ahead in entrepreneurship and all these other avenues. So where the Black man used to be of value in terms of providing financially, the Black woman is now almost stepping into an era of being Miss Independent, not necessarily by choice, but by means and by need, if that makes sense. We need to consider that vulnerability looks different. Some men struggle to express emotions openly, not because they don't feel them, but because society taught them to hide them. They wish Black women would recognize vulnerability in different forms, like long silences, quiet sacrifice, or even frustration. A lot of Black men are fighting battles that we don't even always see. From systemic biases to workplace struggles, Black men carry invisible weight. And sometimes when they pull back, it's not about the relationship, it's about exhaustion from the outside world. At the core, a lot of Black men are saying, see me, respect me, stand with me. Now let's flip the perspective, because Black women have just as much to say. A lot of the times, we hear Black women being referred to as strong, and that's often interpreted that we don't need support. And while, yes, Black women are resilient, Being called strong all the time can feel like a burden. We want to feel safe, to be soft, to rest, to not carry it all. Then there is the emotional availability, right? That we find that some men just are not accessible when it comes to their emotions. Money and presence matter, but without openness, without vulnerability, love feels empty. Black women want partners who show up emotionally, not just physically. Then there's the topic of partnership not necessarily being a competition. Too often, online conversations pit men and women against each other. But Black women are saying, I don't want to compete with you. I want to build with you. And at the core of this conversation, Black women are saying, see me, support me, feel me. So now it's time to kind of merge the two perspectives. So here's the truth. When you strip away the noise, Black men and women are asking for the same things: love, respect, safety, and partnership. The problem comes in how we communicate it. Sometimes Black men call for respect feels like dismissal of women's needs. And sometimes Black women's call for emotional connection feels like critique of men's masculinity. But here's the thing: growing love requires us to hear the need beneath the words. Respect and love are not always opposites, they're partners. Strength and softness can exist together, and emotional availability is not weakness, it's intimacy. When we stop defending and start listening, the gap closes. I did some research of my own, and I created a bit of a list of what many Black men and women aged 35 and up are reporting as key pain points or frustrations in dating. Of course, experiences vary a lot, but these themes came up repeatedly in surveys, interviews, essays, and social media. So let's start off with what Black women are saying. There's a lot of complaints about the shrinking dating pool and lack of eligible men. Many Black women feel the number of potential partners who meet their standards, whether emotionally, financially, or just good character, is slim to none. Past marriages, children, or differing values narrow the playing field even more. There's the mismatch in education and socioeconomic status. A lot of professional Black women often find fewer men with similar levels of education, income, or even career trajectory. This can lead to difficulty finding someone who's quote unquote on the same page. There's discussions about past trauma and emotional baggage. So whether coming from a background of divorce or loss of a partner or parents, often mean women bring more life experiences and hurt into new relationships, and being vulnerable becomes even harder when their partners can't really relate. There's the argument around high standards and clarity about what they want. So women are saying after years of experience, they're more intentional and clear about what they want and what they won't accept. But that also means fewer matches meet all those criteria. There's the pressure from society and cultural expectations. External pressures, whether it's from family or community around marriage, having children, even if internally women are content or want to wait for the right partner, the idea that their biological clock is a concern that shows up in a lot of these narratives. Black women are saying they're feeling invisible or undesirable. As women age, particularly in cultures that prize youth, many women are experiencing less attention, being passed over, being filtered out, dating apps simply due to age, and some feel like their desirability is judged more harshly. There's the conflict between career and independence. Successful, independent women sometimes find tension navigating partners who expect more traditional gender roles or who feel intimidated or those who aren't even ready to meet them where they're at. And then lastly, there's the argument of the fear of settling versus the fear of never finding the one. Many women are saying they don't want to settle for something less than what aligns with their values. But on the other side of that, argue that they fear that waiting may mean missing out or being single for the long haul. Let's dive into what the Black man has to say. So, popular opinion. A lot of Black men are saying that some men describe feeling judged for not being fully healed from past relationships. They may struggle with communicating their feelings, fearing rejection, or being misunderstood. Other men are saying just as women have more clarity, many men also have specific ideas of what they want, which makes finding a match just as hard. Sometimes both people have unaligned expectations around marriage, children, and commitment. There's also the repeated cycles of bad dates, being ghosted, unmet promises, and this can lead to discouragement. Some men are saying that as they get older, they value time more, so they're less willing to waste their time. Some men often report that many potential partners, or even themselves, carry baggage, unresolved issues, which can further complicate forming new relationships. There's the challenges with online dating and apps. There's, of course, the profile misrepresentation, people showing up with their virtual personas, unreal expectations versus that of reality, superficial interactions, once again, ghosting. And these are very common frustrations across the board. Also, many prefer meeting people in real life, but as life gets busier with work, kids, and all the things, that becomes harder. Other conversations have mentioned that some men may desire partnership but are wary of losing their independence, repeating past mistakes, or adding emotional labor they're not ready for. Others feel that women are not wanting to commit or keeping their options open. And then lastly, a topic that came up quite often is around financial and life stage pressures. So by this age, 35 and up, many men feel pressure to have their life together, financially, emotionally, career-wise, and may feel less confident or more afraid of being behind, so to speak. It can impact when they feel ready to date seriously. So instead of highlighting all of the issues and the complaints, let's talk about a few solutions to some of these problems, right? So first off is the shrinking dating pool and mismatched standards. Some solutions to consider is expanding our circles intentionally. Join groups for professionals, interest-based meetups that could be for travel, fitness, volunteering, church. What are your core values? And joining organizations or, communities that align with that. And this will help to widen your options beyond the dating apps. Also, something to consider is dating outside your checklist, right? Women are very well known for our list, right? But Sometimes values, emotional maturity, and shared vision matter more than status markers like education or salary. So keep that in mind. Of course, everyone's standards and expectations are different, but that's something to consider if your checklist is quite rigid. Also, consider different geographic pools. Long distance dating or expanding radius can increase your options, especially if your niche is dating in the Black community. Another area where we can explore solutions is past traumas, baggage, and vulnerability. Some solutions is the obvious therapy and coaching before re entering the dating scene. Healing past wounds is essential in reducing fear based decision making. Practice soft vulnerability, opening up gradually instead of all or nothing approach can help to rebuild trust in the other party. And set clear but compassionate boundaries. Clarity reduces resentment and it also helps to protect your energy. With regards to high standards versus fear of settling, well, here are some solutions. You can define your non negotiables versus preferences. For example, honesty, emotional availability equals non negotiable, height, hobbies, or more preferences. This helps separate essentials from nice to haves. Also focus on alignment, not perfection. Ask ask yourself, rather, can I build a peaceful life with this person? Instead of do they check every box? Dating fatigue and burnout. This is definitely something that we all feel from time to time. You can try the approach of time box dating. For example, dedicate 2 to 3 days a month to dates and keep it purposeful and not overwhelming. Switch dating environments. Instead of endless swiping, attend curated mixers, speed dating, professional networking, or alumni events. And also remember to take some breaks. Taking breaks from apps or dating altogether helps to reset your mindset. Intimidation around independence and gender roles. This is a big one. Some things you can consider is communicate expectations very early. Talk about financial dynamics, household roles, independence versus togetherness before the conflicts set in. You can also look for complement, not competition. And what I mean by that is a partner doesn't have to mirror your success. They can bring stability, kindness, or support that balances the relationship. I say this often to my friends, when I'm having dating conversations, and I'm like, a lot of people like to say, well, what do you bring to the table? And for me, my response is always, it's not necessarily what you bring to the table. It's your ability to assess what is missing from the table and evaluate if you have the capacity to bring that forward, right? Is there a need and can you fill the need? Another thing to consider, reframing independence as partnership strength. Independence means less pressure on one person to carry out everything. So if you can kind of relieve that pressure and come together as a unit, as a team, that would help to strengthen the partnership. Online dating frustrations. Couple tips here would be curate profiles honestly. Make sure that you're posting authentic photos and bios to attract aligned partners and reduce mismatch. Shift to niche platforms, Black-centered apps, professional platforms like The League, BLK, or Meet Mindful often filter better, especially if you're focused on dating within the Black community. Move offline quicker. Long chats often fizzle out if you remain on the app. Meeting within a week or two of connecting can help to determine real chemistry. Lack of time. I get that a lot. Don't have enough time. My opinion, people make time for what they really want. Be sure to integrate dating into your lifestyle. For example, join a hiking group, cooking class, or church singles ministry that naturally blends interests plus potential partners. Prioritize quality over quantity. One intentional connection is more impactful than 10 scattered dates. And also use your downtime strategically. Coffee breaks, lunch dates, or short virtual check ins can keep that momentum going when you are dating. And then lastly, the fear of repeating past mistakes. Some solutions there could be reflect on your relationship patterns. Do you have a certain type? Make sure that you're journaling, leveraging therapy or coaching to help identify those blind spots. Date at the same pace as clarity. Move as slow as fast as it feels emotionally safe. Don't be pressuring into dictating your time. Learn to embrace second chances. We got to learn to heal and to forgive. Being open to love again after divorce or heartbreak means seeing yourself and others as capable of growth. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Spoken Love Podcast. If today's conversation resonated with you, I challenge you to ask yourself, what do I wish my partner knew? And how can I share that with love and not blame? Because healing our relationship starts with honesty. And when Black men and Black women choose understanding over debate, love wins every time. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode, and join me next week as we continue these series of real conversations about grown love. Until then, keep speaking love. And just like that, another chapter closes. But the story of love and life never really ends. If these words moved you, share them, carry them, and live them out loud. Follow Spoken Love Podcast wherever you listen, and meet me here again where the dialogue stays candid and the poetry stays alive.